Can you describe for us what her job is or was?
Yes, Dame Vera Baird's job was to represent victims and make their case to government and therefore drive reform within the criminal justice system. Now, she's absolutely right. It is in chaos. I would go a bit further and say it's in crisis. So what do we mean by that? Well, people's first dealings with the criminal justice system is with the police.
Yes.
And we all know, underfunded, overworked, too many forces in special measures and simply not serving the public like they should do. Next, we go to the Crown Prosecution Service. Underfunded, overworked, prickly and sometimes failing relationship with the police. Then we go to the courts. Criminal barristers on strike. Buildings not fit for purpose. Leaky roofs. IT that's not worth a carrot. And then, of course, we go to the prisons. Only today there's a piece in the paper saying too many prisoners are sitting around watching daytime telly all day instead of being in a 9-to-5 sort of regime that might prepare them for life after their sentences. And then finally, the probation service. Again, overworked, underfunded, quite simply failing, was at one point privatised. That was a catastrophe. And so there you have it, from the start to the end of the criminal justice system ridden with problems.
Right. So what does her resignation achieve then? Is she making a point with it? Because she must have some ideas of how things need to change, or is she just saying she's not being listened to?
Well, Dame Vera Baird is a former Labour minister. She's very much a member of the Labour Party. And a Whitehall source was reported as saying, we don't need somebody from the Labour Party telling us how to deal with victims. OK, so I can get that. But, of course, that is very depressing to listen to because it's about politics. And so much of what I do and so much of what many other people do has a victim focus. At the end of the day, victims are being failed. And sadly, there are many more of us becoming victims of crime these days, and we need a good service. In fact, I'd go so far as to say we need a victim's law, so that when you are a victim of crime, your rights are enshrined upon the statute book.
I would have thought they would be already.
No, there's codes of conduct, there's charters and all these kind of things which can largely be ignored by a detective investigating a crime, for example. And therefore there is no sanction. Until victims' rights are enshrined in law, they are always going to be let down.
Well, it's interesting then that she's feeling that not only victims being failed, but actually the government is unwilling to listen to her on these matters. I mean, surely this is key to how the whole system is going to operate.
Absolutely, and we need a strong, robust, powerful Victims Commissioner to drive forward reform and improvements in the criminal justice system. I fear that some politicking has come in here with Dame Vera Baird's resignation. She was, in fact, told to reapply for her own job, and, of course, others were applying for it as well. So I think not only has she rightly highlighted the failings in the criminal justice system, but I think there might be an element of nose being put out of joint here.
But you just look at rape, for instance. In her resignation letter, she said she criticises the police approach to rape investigations, which have seen charging rates plummet to a record low of just 1 in 70 offences. And she said in her first report it amounted to the effective decriminalisation of rape. I mean, that is quite some charge she's putting to the Ministry of Justice.
And it makes me feel sick just to hear that saying, because we all know what a vile and odious crime rape is. And yes, there are issues with investigating it and securing evidence and charges. And this has been a thorn in the side of the police for decades, unfortunately. Nobody has really come to terms with it, looked at it in the whole and gone, OK, what do we need to do from the start of that crime being reported to the conclusion, one would hope, of a court case?